Hey guys, number one Marmaduke fan here. This is going to be like a brief and to the point review because this is one of those books where it's good and it's so good that I can't do like the point by point on how good it is because I really just want you to read it, right? So I'm going to kind of try to give you some spoiler-free reasons why The Lion of Rora is a high recommendation from me. I think I actually bought this, read this, and recommended it before I had a channel, and then I gave away my copy because that was when I was just buying comics and giving them away. And it's good enough that I thought of it again and said, yeah, I need to own this one, actually. So I bought it again, just reread it. So The Lion of Rora tells the story of Joshua Janavel and the Waldensians. And this is kind of like after the Protestant Reformation. Oliver Cromwell is Lord Protector of England. So basically, like not only has the Protestant Reformation occurred, but it's sort of at this period in history where basically continuous wars are being fought around the Protestant world. And the Waldensians were this little group of people in Savoy near France, or kind of like it was a little kingdom that was kind of like under the protection of France, who had basically been like ostracized. And according to the authors, it's one of the first instances in history of basically like a minor group of people successfully rebelling against a ruling power in Europe. So it's but there's both a religious aspect to the story and a military aspect to the story, and both of them are interesting in their own right, and they're both weaved together really well. So that means you could be like a Waldensian, not care about the religious politics too much, and just really be interested in the Waldensian history. You could be like super Protestant, and this is like a Protestant hoorah book. And I just think it does a really good job of making history actually interesting and trying to treat these guys as historical characters and not treat them as 21st century people. So they don't like talk in 21st century isms or slang. There's a really neat subplot that Joshua Janavel is barely literate. He can read with difficulty and he can't write. But he speaks very well because they would like have to memorize whole chunks of the Bible because they were never sure if their Bibles could be confiscated. So they speak in this really nice old-timey prose, but at the same time they're kind of plain, down-to-earth people, and they have human concerns. So that was kind of neat. They do a lot of you would get to this and you would literally like want to go read these history books about the Waldenses because you'd be so interested in like the real story behind this. But if you were just reading the book, it'd be like Star Wars or Braveheart. It's just a genuinely exciting little tiny group of villagers defending their land against an overbearing power story. And there's just some really neat tactical stuff too, like Joshua Janavel. Basically, he's illiterate, but he knows the land very well. And so when superior forces start coming in, he starts thinking tactically. Okay, we need to make chokeholds. We need to use these little resources that we've got to get to kind of like creatively invade their castle. We need to use deception and trickery to give them a rope-a-dope. That kind of stuff. And we have to be good at finding hiding places to. It's basically like a proto-guerrilla warfare tactic. So that aspect of it is very interesting. He has like a really good drive where, as a child, some of his family were slaughtered because of their religious beliefs, and then as a father, he wants to protect his family while also basically desperately leading this last-ditch revolt. So that's very human and connectable. There's some nice back and forth between the characters about like, how do Christians fight a war? Is it even just for us to fight a war at all? And I think it does a nice job of just like not annoying me about anything. About any of those things. Like there's always, oh, the pacifist, oh man, I'm belly aching about hurting anybody. But no, they get that there's such a thing as self-defense, and that but they also understand as Christians that they can't just go butcher and slaughter whoever they want. So they wrestle with it in a very realistic way. The art, okay, so the art is a little stiff for me, and that's kind of like that's maybe like why I'd give it a qualified recommend. Like sometimes the faces are a little awkward or the action is a little stiff, but generally I think it works because the historical details are really good. It feels rich, feels like a lived in. What would this be? Kind of like the early modern era, I guess, would be the 1500s, 1600s, right? Also, I think that there's a really good use of black and white for drama in certain scenes, and a good use of varying the panel composition for more dramatic sequences. So kind of like more straightforward panel composition for general talking, and then if a big dramatic moment comes up, then they might have like a whole page or some really tight panels and cutaway shots. So the sequential side of the art is really good, and the stiffness of some of the scenes doesn't bother me too much. It's basically what I look for in comics is it fun to read? And the Lion of Rora is a blast to read. It is really a graphic novel, Braveheart style story, but Braveheart, yeah, it even has some like those kind of like fun, cheesy, like I'm absolutely positive they're taking historical data and they're doing some creative little Hollywood treatment of it to make it more exciting. But the most important thing is the characters feel like they are people who have a religious faith and concern for their family, and that motivates them in what they do. But you don't have to be a person of religious faith, I think, to just get a real kick out of what an awesome, exciting action-adventure war story it is. So I give it a high recommendation, and you should definitely check it out. All right, so the writers are Christos Gage, Ruth Fletcher Gage, and the artist is Jackie Lewis. I will try to find him and link to him. All right, with that, that's the end of our brief review. I love you guys. Catch you later.